This brings us now to our third poll on the Slido event code 171. The question is, should schools be promoting or offering additional tutoring services to parents that want to pay for it? I know a lot of you are taking part. We're getting a good third of you all taking part in the Slido, so thank you very much, and I'll announce some results for that afterwards. We now have a demonstration of our relatively new service portal, ServiceNow. It's a short video after which you can ask questions of our two colleagues, Jo Ciocchi and Mark Chilton. We can take specific service area questions only more generally on how to use ServiceNow though today. Over to Jo and Mark.
Hello, my name's Mark Chilton, and with my colleague Jo Ciocchi, we are deploying and developing a ticketing system called ServiceNow, which, amongst many other things that it's being used for, acts as a service desk portal for schools. We access it via going into the school's web site and clicking on the service desk menu option, and that takes us to a login page. We can see here that there's a URL. The reason for that is that this is a cloud-based system that you can access over the public internet, so you don't need to be on a council system to use it necessarily, but you can save that as a favourite if you want to. So I've created a dummy account for demonstration purposes, but schools are generally given role-based accounts, which may be office, bursar, head teacher or technical at your school name. Hopefully you're aware of those, but please do contact your school's rep if you need to be advised. Once the password has gone in, we come to a portal screen, and this is used by everybody in Buckinghamshire Council that has access to ServiceNow. That may be IT people, HR, and many other uses besides. It's important to have your email address attached to your account where possible. We'll come on to the reasons for that. They're largely due to notifications. We can see via a profile look here. There's an email address that I've set up for today, and going back to the home page via the council logo, we get back to where we started. So it's important to have your email address there if you can. There are three tiles here in the middle. We're going to mostly concentrate on this one here, I need something, because this is schools and school finance repository for e-forms and requests of all types. If we go into here, this is the front page of what we call a service catalogue, and this is where individual forms are stored and where you can access them. We can see here that the most popular items are right there in front of you, and this will be a similar methodology to any kind of online website that you may go in, such as Amazon or eBay or similar. So the most common forms are right there in front of you. We can search via going down individual categories down this left-hand menu. Here we can see there is a schools menu with schools finance content in it, schools IT content in it, and also a generic finance one up here as well. There's quite a lot of other content in HR and IT, but look at that when you wish. If you were looking for anything in particular, you can then obviously go down the category side, but also there is a search bar on the front page and a search bar up here as well. So if we were to look for a specific form such as PACL, if we were looking for that, we can then see that the PACL form appears by virtue of our search. And if we were to look for something more, perhaps more common, such as using a single word such as invoice, using this feature here will give you every form that's got invoice either in its title or somewhere in its text. I'm just going to raise a form now so that you can see how this works, and I'm going to go for school bus pass cancellation. Clicking on it gives us a typical request view. It knows that it is us, so that's filled out already. You can fill it out on behalf of somebody else if you wish to, and you get the opportunity to select their name should you do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to fill it out for ourselves, so that that option gets removed. Here we've got some fields that are mandatory. They're denoted by a red asterisk. And also, because they are required information, are mandatory are shown here as well. They disappear from this view as you fill these fields out. So just for demo purposes, I'm going to pretend that I'm cancelling a bus pass for me. So I fill my name in. I'm going to invent a student reference number. And you can see here that those fields are now disappearing as we complete the required selections. I'm going to pretend that the reason for cancellation is other, and now all those mandatory fields have gone. There are some optional fields to be filled in here, which we can also use if you want to, and any other information that you wish in support of your submission can go in the additional information field at the bottom. It's all free text. You can add an attachment via the standard sort of paperclip method. I'm just, for demo purposes, just going to show an attachment of where I sit at work and select that in the normal way. You may wish to attach an invoice or some financial information or something of that kind. Once you've done that, we submit it, and that is essentially raising a form within this system. Then we get into our kind of dialog window. We can see here that already we have an original, a unique number assigned to the case, and that the information that you completed earlier in filling the form out is all visible here, as is the attachment in the narrative. This looks very similar to a WhatsApp type display, for those of you who are familiar with that. And if you were to type anything in here, it adds it to the case and is visible to the person who is fulfilling it for you. So if we were to say, please let me know when this is done, and then click on send, we then find that that's been committed now to our text, and that doesn't go away. That can't be redacted at any time at all. And if somebody at the back end were to look at your ticket and say that they're going to attend to it tomorrow, we can see here that when somebody posts that, it will then feature in real time in your narrative, right? So broadly speaking, that is how you would raise a request. All of the information that you want is broadly kept in the same place. And we can see here that if we look at the My Tickets view, which is visible at any point, the request that we've opened is this one here, and there it is. So we can see that at any point that you want, and any previous case that we've ever done are also there as well. One of the major advantages of this is that all the content that you ever submit is all in the same place, and that's really useful. We talked about the email address earlier on. The reason for that is that if you have an email account, and I'm just going to show you a dummy one here, that the case we've had, you get notifications. Email notifications are received when something is logged, updated, or resolved or cancelled, and they look broadly similar to this. There it is, and it tells you that that unique case number has been logged. If you click on that, it would take you, if you're logged off, to the login screen that we saw earlier. So just wanted to show you the concept of there being an email notification such that you can see things. We spoke earlier about other tiles being there as well. This first one is for incidents. If you have a fault and your IT support is via Buckinghamshire Council, rather than ring a service desk, you can raise an incident through here. I'm aware that schools can choose to have their support wherever they from wherever they like, but if that happens to be from Buckinghamshire Council, you can raise an incident through there, and it's broadly the same look and feel as the request system was. A knowledge base is here as well, and this contains a bunch of guides and information about all manner of different content. You can see here there's all community, adult and social care stuff. All sorts of things are in here. So I'd urge you to have a look at that, and you could search for things in exactly the same way as we saw before. So if, for example, COVID, there we are. There's all the forms with some COVID reference in them. From a demonstration perspective, that's what I'd like to show you. But would also just like to advise that this is a much better way of engagement than using just the standard email. The broad reasons for that is that any case that you raise goes directly to the resolver. for that reason, there's likely to be a quicker turnaround because there isn't any kind of like trials or initial assessment that's required first. All the content, as we've seen, is held in one place, so that's great for you because you can see it. And it's also useful at the back end so that our people are able to look at the type of requests that get made, forms that aren't of any use, create new forms if they're required, and certainly put more people delivering the more popular forms if they happen at certain times of the year, or whatever. If there are peaks and troughs of demand, they can all be dealt with. And also there's going to be, and this is a key point, that there is longer term integration with all manner of different use cases. So that may be property, there may be many other Buckinghamshire Council applications that are used through this system, and I'd really urge you to try it out. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mark and Joe. We do have a few questions that have come in, so I think we're going to a question slide. The first question saying, I've used ServiceNow for a while and generally find it works well. It would be really helpful if the email which says that the item has been closed shows the conclusion rather than having to log into the system to see how it has been resolved. Did you want to come back to that, Mark?
Thank you. It's a very good question. Certainly that content can be provided. There's an internal user forum that's chaired by a colleague, Lynn Roberts, and I'll put that through there. Certainly it's technically feasible. There are certain settings where we've been advised that it's not a great idea to include updated information in a emailed notification, and a lot of those may be around sensitive HR cases and things of that nature. So in short, it can, and we'll look at that and come back to the question if we can.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, I do recall that sensitive information they didn't want to send out in emails. Another question, do we still need or require Datto? Does that make sense to you?
Forgive me, I don't know what Datto is, and if there's anybody that can help me.
Okay.
Now effectively replaced a previous system called SupportWorks. I'm here to do a technical job in terms of delivering ServiceNow alongside Joe. Our understanding is that SupportWorks was in place for maybe 10 years previously. So people that are familiar with that tool is essentially getting retired as it's no longer considered suitable for unitary purposes. Frankly, I don't know what Datto is.
Okay, thanks very much, Mark. Okay, so someone's looked at their Service Desk portal profile and it won't let them input their own email address from a Bursar account. Could you say a bit about the email address and how that works?
Yeah, I should have explained in that video, but apologies, it was kind of a one-take scenario, so didn't get all the detail in. You can't put your own email address in it. The email address can be added to your profile for you. Jessica, what do you think the best route for people to advise of their email addresses against their accounts would be?
Hi, Mark. Typically, it is the Office account or the Bursar account. So that's the sort of the emails that we would normally use, especially for our mailing. So I saw that you posted that, Fran. So I'll have a look and see what email is currently assigned to ServiceNow. We can always review that as we go along. So thanks for raising that.
Yeah, we've got I think the question was essentially how do people get their email into the system? So when I showed the profile there, it was showing that an email address was configured. I need to make it clear to people that they can't do that for themselves. They kind of have to ask for it. So previously that's gone through either yourself or Steph Payne or whatever. Is that still the route that people need to take?
Yes, thanks, Mark. That would still be the case. If you go through our account managers, and they'll help you out and make sure that it's set up and working to suit your needs. Another question for you here, Mark. Why are the tickets seen from oldest to newest? I mean, is that configurable?
I'll look into that and come back. The portal view is effectively out of the box. we will be able to do some. I think we'll be able to do some stuff around that. So if there is a preferred order that isn't the one that's there by default, then likely we'll be able to change it to people want to see the newest first.
Okay, so yeah, is there any sorting, filtering, archiving the tickets? One of the schools has got 3 pages of tickets, so it can be a little difficult to find the specific one. Okay.
Right, from an archiving perspective, all the tickets are there effectively forever. So at no point does anything that you've previously done for audit purposes go away. So we can certainly find that. If we have a lot of closed tickets, if there is a lot of use, and clearly that would increase over time, I think we probably need to find a better way of.
Thank you, Mark. That's really helpful to hear from you. Thanks for giving that presentation and all your questions and answers. That's really useful.
Yeah, pleasure. Thank you.